Uploading and we're live. Hello. Oh my gosh, I cannot get used to this. This is it? Yep, it is. Okay. I'm having the hardest time getting used to Facebook's new live platform. I am such a creature of habit. I need it to be the same. And I know they're just a platform trying to evolve just like the rest of us, but come on, Facebook. Okay. I'm so excited to be talking about content creation today. You may or may not have seen, but we just announced my new 5-day challenge, which is totally free. You should jump in if you have not already. But it is the Content Queen Challenge. So it'll be starting next Monday, and we're going to be learning basically how to master content creation. Hi, Casey. Thank you. I like it too. My bangs are getting a little long. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 5 types of content that will build your dream audience today. And I am so thrilled to be covering this. Content creation is one of my absolute favorite things to talk about because there's obviously a way to do it right, but there are so many ways that you can get creative with content creation, and it's just such a game changer once you've mastered it for your business. This is the one thing that really changes everything for my clients once they really learn how to do it well. So we're going to talk about that today. Let me fix this a little bit. Hey Amanda, how's it going? Let me see everybody that's on. Say hey if you're watching live. Let me know if you're watching the replay as well. Okay, so we're going to dive right into this because I don't want to waste any time. We've got 5 points to go over today, and I want to make it as concise as possible, but also I want to make sure we cover everything really well. So the types of content that we're going to be talking about today are not going to be like live video versus long form post versus blog or anything like that. We're not talking about that. What we're talking about is more of positioning for your content. So how you go about creating. Media types are great, and that's like a whole nother thing that we'll actually be covering in the Content Queen Challenge if you want to hop in. But the types of content are more the approach that you take in connecting and communicating with your audience when you're putting stuff out there on social media. So the first type of content is going to be connection pieces. So connection pieces are pieces that personify you to your ideal client. So instead of just speaking out into the void and being in talking at your ideal client, you are taking time to talk with them. So this is the kind of stuff that you would share if they were sitting across the coffee table from you and sharing a cup of coffee with you, or however you want to picture, if you're not a coffee person, whatever, sitting across the bar from you. Hey, Brona. But yeah, so these are pieces that really personify you and build that deep connection between you and your audience. It makes them feel like they really know you. And this can be done in long form, but it also can be done in really quick snippets. So I'm going to try to give you some examples for each one of these to make it make sense. And I want to make sure that Amanda's like, yep, across the bar. Champagne glasses. But yeah, in ways that will make sense for you. So for me, I'm a business coach. If my audience are people who are mostly building businesses, a lot of them have been getting clients for a little while but want to like get a steady stream, not mainstream, get a steady stream of clients, then I'm going to do a lot of things that connect my struggles to their struggles while keeping a place of authority. So for instance, if I have somebody, say I have a client that's talking to me about feeling like they're putting a lot of content out there and nothing's happening, then I'm going to take some time, consider when I was at that place in my business where I felt like I was constantly putting content out there and nothing was happening. And I'm going to connect with them in that space. I'm going to take some time to channel what it felt like to be back there. And just let them know that I have been there and I have been where they are. I know how it feels, but also that they can get out of it. So providing some sort of hope. So it can be something deep like that. It also can be as simple as taking a picture of my children climbing on my head while I'm trying to work. Because that also personifies me and that also makes it feel like I'm connected with them. Do you see what I'm saying? So it can be really deep, or it can be something super silly that just says, hey, I'm a person like you're a person, and I know what the struggle is like and what you're going through. But that's what connection is. So making sure that you're connecting with your ideal client and having pieces of content that you're sharing regularly that really just say, we're both people and I connect with you in this way is huge. Oh, thank you, Brona. You're being like my hype man right now. You're making me smile. Okay. Engagement is the second type of content that you can put out there. Now, engagement is really good for optimization of your content, as well as just building rapport between you and your audience. So if you want to make sure that you're not just, again, speaking out into the void, talking at your ideal client, and you want to make sure that you are instead building a community of people who are in love with what you do and who enjoy being in your presence and just being in your space, then you need to make sure that you are building stuff that opens the door for conversation. It's not just like close-ended, it's open-ended stuff. So again, you can do that with a live video by, doing a live video and calling people to engage or give you their opinion. So I could say, hey, let me know, by the way, what you ate for dinner this week, or whatever. That wouldn't make any sense with what I'm doing right now, but it's an example of, infusing in video content questions that call people to give you an answer in the comments. That's a way that you can create engagement. You can also just do something very simple, like today I did an engagement post, and I'm going to slip on what it was. Well, I guess you'll just have to go back and look and then engage with me. But we do engagement posts almost every single day, and they can be something as simple as, what is your goal for this week? That's something that makes sense for me to ask because my ideal client is very goal-oriented. The people in my audience are usually always working towards something. And so asking them what their goals are and giving them a chance to share that and create accountability is huge. So finding questions and things that are relevant to your ideal client that you can ask and get their feedback, build rapport with them so you're able to connect with these people that you've probably only met online for the most part. But also it just gives them a chance. You're passing the mic to them and making sure that they know your platform is about them too, not just about you, which is really, really, really important. Brona, thank you. Who's somebody you love following? That's right. I just looked at it too. I just looked at the question. So I asked my audience who is somebody that they love to follow. And that's really relevant to my ideal client too, because they usually are really into personal development and they have different influencers that they follow. So this stuff, I'm giving lots of examples of what I use because obviously I know what I use best, but make it make sense for you. So some of the questions, the engagement, the examples that I give right now are not going to be, always what's going to work for you. But they are good examples. So you just got to decide what, you got to translate it for yourself. Okay, so the third one is experiential. And actually the first time that I ever made this system and created it, I had to Google if that was even a word. Experiential. So it's I don't actually know the real definition of it, but it's about experience, creating an experience and painting a picture for your ideal client. So the first thing that comes to most people's minds when we talk about experiential is sharing testimonials or sharing stories about your ideal clients that serve as kind of testimonials. I mean, not about your ideal client, about actual clients that serve as testimonials. But it's really painting a picture, showing your audience what is possible for them if they work with you, if they buy from you, if they partner with you in whatever capacity it is that you operate your business. And these are some of the most powerful in the conversion space, because you can promote yourself all day long. You can talk about, what makes you great in just a, you to them type thing, but sharing a story of somebody else's experience with you, or sharing somebody else's words about their experience with you is huge. Other people can sell you way better than you can sell yourself, in most cases. So it's really important for you to share experiential type content with people. And that can come in the form of just screenshotting a message from a client, blacking out their name to protect their identity most of the time works. It is the best, course of action unless you've asked their permission. But taking a screenshot of a post can be something super, super simple and just saying like, oh, look what my client just shared with me. But you can also create bigger pieces of content. You can create a video telling the story of your ideal client, or you can have your client create a video sharing their experience with you. You can write a long form piece of content just kind of telling the story of how you met and worked with your ideal client, or about a special order that they place with you if you make products or things like that. But just really like sharing an experience, something that your audience can latch onto and be like, oh yeah, that's what I need, is going to be huge, especially in the conversion space, but in building that trust between you and your audience. So the fourth one that we're going to talk about is promotional. So this is a weird one. I either see people on one or the other end of the spectrum here. It's either all they do is promote, or they never ever promote, and neither one is good. You've got to have some sort of balance there. Now, a lot of times if you don't know how to create actual valuable content, then if you're creating content at all, it's just promotional content. So I hear a lot of people telling me like, oh, I share about my product all the time, or I share about special offers all the time and nobody's buying and things like that. And the success of promotional content and you selling your offer falls on the success that you've had sharing all of these other pieces of content that I'm talking about. So if you only pop up when you're wanting to make a sale, it's not going to work very well for you. Sorry. It's just not, because people have to have that coveted know, like, trust factor that I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times, and you're probably thinking, well, what the heck does that mean? But they have to feel like they know you and that they trust you. You can't just expect to put something out there, ask people for their money, and them just to be like, okay, sounds good enough to me, without having any other context behind why they should be buying from you or working with you. But don't skip selling. Make sure that you're throwing those in there very, very often. In the trainings that I teach about, how often each of these should be used, I usually say about 10% of your content should be strictly selling. Now, definitely call people to take action on these other pieces of content, but strictly selling, just stepping up and saying, hey, I have X thing to offer, here's where you can buy it. Those should be about 10% of the time. But you can't be afraid to sell. And that's really, really important. And I hope that if you take nothing else away from this, that you take that. You have to sell your business. Nobody, at least in my experience, nobody's just going to come up and hand you money. That has not happened to me yet. Besides my children bringing me like pennies that they find on the ground, but nobody's going to walk up to you and just hand you money. You have to be bold enough to ask for it, and you feeling bold enough to ask for it is going to come from you sharing all of these other types of content and seeing the response that you get and hearing how valuable your stuff is from everybody. That's going to boost you up. So the last type of content is one of the most valuable pieces that you can create for your audience. So it creates the most value for them, and that is educational pieces. So like I said, these educational pieces provide value, but they also establish expertise. So these seriously position you as an authority in your space because they're able to see you in action and see that you know your stuff. You're showcasing your zone of genius for your ideal client, and you're also giving them something that's of value to them. So obviously, as a coach, this is an example of a educational piece of content. I'm sharing with you 5 things, 5 ways, 5 types. What am I sharing with you? I'm sharing with you 5 types of content that you can use to build an audience. And it feels like that would just be a given for a coach, right? But you can do this. You can share educational content, establish your expertise, and provide value to your ideal client no matter what industry you're in. And if you don't believe me, please send me a message tell me what you do for business, and I will show you that you can. And I won't even charge you for it. But this is one of my favorite things, is helping my clients find their zone of genius and see what ways they can educate their clients and establish expertise. So if you're a soap maker, seriously, if you're a soap maker, my mind is like blowing right now with all the different ways that you can use educational pieces of content. But just a couple that come to mind off the bat is showing behind the scenes. So just like showing you making the soap by either doing a time-lapse video or talking about 1 or 2 of the steps and why they're important, things like that. But people are fascinated by education. We are always consuming content, especially in this day and age, and it just blows our mind when we get to know something. But also, if you're a soap maker, please comment, because that is the most random thing that I've ever thought of on a live. And I want to know if there's a soap maker in the audience today. But if you're a soap maker, you can also just share maybe your different types of soap and why you chose to make goat soap over all of the other different types of soaps, or why this type of soap is your favorite. I am not a soap connoisseur, so my knowledge in giving these examples is rather limited, but there is always something that there's always a bit of expertise that you can be sharing with your ideal client to establish that authority archetype in their mind, and let them know that you know what you're talking about and that you have their best interest in mind, because you didn't just randomly decide to do this business. There's a reason why you're doing it, and you know your stuff. So those are the 5 types of Oh, Lacey, I was like, wait, I thought you said you were a soap maker. I was like, you are not a soap maker. That is so funny. Okay, so Lacey, tell us which soap maker you follow on YouTube, because I bet they have some really good stuff. If they have a YouTube channel, I'm sure that they have some really good educational content. Hey, Ashley. Okay, so yes, those are the 5 types of content. Sprinkling all of these pretty evenly throughout your content creation strategy is going to be exactly what builds your audience, full of people who want what you have to offer, and also people who are eventually going to convert to clients. So if you want to learn how to put each one of these types into practice, then you need to hop in the Content Queen Challenge. We have been talking about it today all over my page. Go to the link in my bio, or you can just type in bit.ly/content with Mac, and that's MAK. But you can join the challenge. It is going to be so fun. I have packed out this challenge with not only education on the different types of content, the different media types that you can put out there, and the different elements of a successful content strategy, but also some really awesome implementation tactics for you to actually put this stuff into practice and get used to doing it and to become a content queen. So if you want to get in there, hop in. We are going to have such a fun time. Or of course you can just shoot me a DM and I will get you in there. But I am so excited. Let me know what questions you have about this. Seriously, if you don't think that you have a way to showcase your expertise, send me a message. I will prove to you that you can. And I will see you. Oh, Lacey, yes, she already joined the challenge. Awesome. So many people have joined the challenge. So please hop in there if you want to have some fun. Starting next week, we start Monday the 22nd. Talk soon. Bye.